A woman got caught laughing at a Niqabi while she was eating in Dubai. That's actually crazy, right? Like, Dubai is a country where the majority is Muslim, and to get laughed at for practicing your faith, like, that is so weird. Like, let's have a look what happened.
Okay,
she looks like a tourist.
Assalamu alaikum, dear brothers and sisters. I hope you're well. A shocking video is circulating the internet, and it comes directly from Dubai. Dubai, a land that has attempted to portray itself as secular and liberal, welcoming individuals of all origins, ethnicities, and religions, is now experiencing a backlash against its own citizens and Muslim populations. Foreigners are now insulting and humiliating Dubai's locals, or those who practice the Islamic faith. Let's look at the viral clip to see what happened.
I don't see anything funny here.
As we saw in the
you know, it's like, what's like a bit strange here? So they are laughing, right? Like, and look, like, if now the media was trying to report about this, they wouldn't even say that she's the weird one for laughing at the women. They will actually look at the Muslim women and be like, oh, she's covering herself, that even people are laughing at her, or something. But if a Muslim comes to, let's say, a Christian country and someone is praying at church and they're making jokes about it, then they're calling the Muslim, oh, look, extremist, oh, he brings hate and violence to the country, this and that, right? But nobody's talking negative about this woman laughing at the other women there that's eating with her husband, right? And there you see like how biased the media is, right? Like, this is actually so disgusting to see, right? So people can make fun about Islam like this, right? And nobody in the West says anything. But if a Muslim makes fun about, let's say, a Christian or even LGBTQ or something, like, they get roasted on media. Like, oh, look at this person. This is a hate preacher. This is this and that. Is an Islamist and is a terrorist. He's this, he's that. Always getting labeled names. But if someone does this to a Muslim, they don't get labeled names, right? Only we call them out as Islamophobes, of course, but the media doesn't. There's different coverage there.
As we saw in the clip, apparently two women, one mocking and the other one is recording a man and burqa-clad women sitting at a nearby table in a Dubai restaurant. The women were ridiculing the Muslim woman regarding her way of dressing and veiling herself, and how Muslim men take their wives out covered in a burqa. Soon after the video attracted attention, it set off a global wave of criticism from netizens, particularly from Emiratis, who were the most friendly to the foreigners, but nevertheless the video revealed that some foreigners view the Muslim population, specifically the Muslim women, in a humiliating way. In reaction to the public outcry, Dubai police promptly initiated a formal inquiry into the incident. They assured the public that they would implement essential actions to rectify the inappropriate conduct. The way the women in the video are shown laughing and taunting the Muslim couple, particularly the Niqabi women, suggests that something strange or humorous is going on. However, nothing of the sort is happening.
You know what? Just because she doesn't fit today's beauty standards and doesn't get as much attention by males outside, that doesn't mean that there are other women that don't have a certain beauty and don't want this sort of attention, right? You know what? Like, yesterday I actually saw a clip here in Germany at a train station where women in Germany got harassed by some dude at the train station, even tried to touch her, this and that, right? And this woman was unfortunately not really dressed the appropriate way, right? So she was like a lot of fitna probably to this man. This man was a bit drunk. And you know what happened here in Germany? So this happened actually in Berlin at a train station a couple of days ago. There was a German woman harassed by some guy that was a bit drunk. And there's like this button you can press for emergency at the train station, right? And then they will call the police. And she was being harassed together with her friend by someone. Then there was like one German guy standing there that was a coward. He didn't take any action to really protect her. She was like just literally standing and watching. And then she pressed the emergency button for the police to come and take this drunk guy away. And actually, this shows now the importance of also like covering for women, right? Because now listen what happened. So she pressed that emergency button to call the police. And keep in mind, Germany is a so-called modern country, right? Like everyone said, oh, developed, strong economy, people are very hardworking, this and that. Like there are a lot of like pictures of Germany that people abroad have, right? And guess what happened when she pressed that emergency button and called the police? It took the police more than 20 minutes. Can you imagine this? Like more than 20 minutes to arrive at the train station and get this guy away that was harassing her. You can't trust the police, you can't trust men, you can't trust the military, you can't trust nobody as a woman these days. Even that guy that was standing there wasn't even protecting her. Like when that guy that harassed her came closer, this guy even backed back from this guy. He was afraid to get into a physical confrontation to protect this woman. And it wasn't even clear from this video if this was her friend, her boyfriend, if it was just someone like a citizen that was at this location at this time. But what I clearly saw in this video is that a lot of men are not masculine anymore. They're cowards. They don't protect women the way they should, right? And police and from the government, like those that are supposed to keep streets safe, they are very slow. Like if it takes more than 20 minutes for a police to arrive there, right? Like this guy could have done whatever to that women, right? So I see why like some women actually feel like comfortable going out because they don't want to get sexualized, they don't want to get harassed, they just want to have like dinner and enjoy themselves, maybe with their spouse or by themselves even, right? And just because she isn't like on like a 10 out of 10, right? Then of course like she doesn't get such attention, so she will never understand why some women actually feel comfortable wearing longer clothes and not so revealing or covering themselves, right? Because the world is sick and you can't rely on third people, right? Like third parties, right? Like police, for example. If in Germany you get harassed, it takes 20 minutes for the police to arrive. Like as a woman, you need to protect yourself. You need to have like a black belt in kung fu or karate or something. You need to have maybe some spray with you, or you need to cover up properly more, right? And even if you can say then, but it is not the women's fault, she can come out of the house very revealing, half naked, no problem, no man should actually harass her or something, under law she is protected. Yeah, this is in theory. Like I said, the police is freaking slow. A lot can happen to a woman until police or military or whatever arrives. Like these days you need to be a fighter, you need to maybe carry some protective measurements with you, or you need to cover up, because the men are these days over-sexualized, and this is a sad reality. And you can blame the men, of course, right? But the men are evil, this is true, like some, not everyone, there are also good men out there, like not everyone is a pervert, right? But what do you do in the first moment as a protection? So in Islam, the woman is actually protected by the niqab, right? From harassment, some crimes and this and that, right? And maybe someone doesn't understand it at first, right? And also the objectification, this is a big problem. I actually watched the other day something where there was like an interview being done by people, and there was like the question, who would you hire? An attractive person or someone that is more qualified, right? And at first, some people will say, because they, of course, don't want to appear negative to others, then they will say, oh, okay, I will pick the one that is more qualified, right? But then if they were asked the question, but what is if both have an equal qualification and the one that is less attractive is just a tiny bit more qualified than the beautiful person? You know what most people would say then? They would take the one that looks better. Even though her grades are a tiny bit behind the one that is not so good looking. What does that mean? Like from a profession viewpoint, the one is better that has a bit better grades, right? But because they are not too far in grades, they will pick the one that is more attractive. And this shows the hidden truth, actually. And there are some people that are exploiting women at work or when they are hiring them because they are appearing attractive to the male. Now, a feminist can now comment in my videos and say, yeah, it's the men, they should all be punished, they should go this and this. Then how about you just lock away half the population of males, then have fun finding a husband? Because like a lot of the males out there are like this, like they are like, some are, I'm actually sad to say this as a man, this is embarrassing, but there are a lot of dogs out there that are more like dogs than human beings on the male population. So I see why some women feel more comfortable covering up. And you shouldn't like mock others just because you're not a 10 out of 10 and you don't make such experience outside. But there are plenty of attractive women these days speaking out, even some people that are being tourists at certain places where people are a bit too open for their taste, right? So some people that even reverted and now wear the hijab and the niqab, they actually report about positive experiences they make from wearing the veil and from saying that, oh, ever since they wear the hijab, they don't get so much harassed anymore. So some people are having a very, very positive experience from wearing the niqab, and they're now more being judged by what they say, what they think, and their intellect and their attractiveness. So there's a lot of wisdom and benefit in the hijab and niqab actually that a lot of people don't understand.
Are shown laughing and taunting the Muslim couple, particularly the Niqabi women, suggests that something strange or humorous is going on. However, nothing of the sort is happening. The Muslim couple is simply sitting in a restaurant as most people do. The only strange individuals appear to be the lady in the video and the person who is filming an everyday scenario and laughing for no apparent reason. Both ladies demonstrate so-called liberalism while expressing a superiority complex, believing that Muslim women are inferior or oppressed solely due to their complete coverage. They are brainwashed by Western society and believe that the less a woman is dressed, the greater her intellect and freedom. They are unaware that the reality is, in fact,
like I said, with
the precise opposite. A covered lady is not inferior to anyone else, and her covering demonstrates her obedience to her Lord's commands. Islam has instructed that believing women be covered because Islam regards a woman as a pearl whose value lies in her covering. Only expensive and valuable items are insured, while useless items are left without a cover. Satan implanted the notion that veiled women are illiterate or lack courage in order to make women their own enemy by removing their clothing, which will cause them to rebel against Allah and lose their self-worth. An ideal Muslim woman is the epitome of character. She cares for her husband, her children, and her home. She contributes positively to society by not corrupting it like Western women.
There's another point I need to point out. If a woman dresses a certain way, that's also a certain sort of friend circle and type of friend she attracts, right? So if a woman is going outside with a mini skirt, revealing clothes, so much makeup that you can't recognize her original look anymore and stuff, like what happens? She will attract friends that are the same and even worse, right? And then they get her involved with drugs, with fornication. Then there's always like flirting by bad guys that actually are following their desires and they're not looking for women to raise a family with. Because if you dress a certain way as someone, it doesn't matter if you're a male or a woman, but even stronger on a woman, then you attract a certain sort of friend circle or people you interact with, right? And you actually interact the men you don't want to interact, and that is one that just follows his desires and that is looking for a night of fun or something, right? And then a woman gets heartbroken because she attracted the guy that is following his desires rather the one that is looking for a best friend, a companion in life. Because every woman, and this is my advice to women, if you're looking for a man, look for one that wants to take you as a best friend and not as someone, oh, you're so hot, you're so beautiful. Because you want to have your husband be your best friend in life and the closest person to you, where you can have a fun time together, maybe you have a fun evening watching some funny movie or something, right? Going out for dinner together, having nice conversations. So as a woman, my advice, and this is something I will also give to a daughter if I have one in the future, inshallah, that look in a spouse someone that can also be your best friend, not someone that is like, you're looking great. Because those are dogs, like I said. Like, if the women say, oh, it's not our fault, why should we cover up? Then lock away half the men. You're gonna pay the tax later on for them because they're gonna be pensioners in jail. They're not gonna contribute to their society. They don't have their hormones in check. And you can also blame social media for this, with like so much pornographic stuff going on. Like, men become worse and worse. Like this video I saw yesterday of a woman being harassed in Berlin at the train station, that just shows that men are over-sexualized because of the way they use media with pornographic images, clips, this and that, and a lot of sims that you can see following Instagram girls and Twitch girls and this and that. Like, men are sick these days, unfortunately. And yeah, may Allah guide more men and to be more masculine and have self-value, self-worth and stuff. Like, it's insane. Like, these days, like, a lot of people are being led astray, especially by social media. Like, a A lot of people have to be more careful at what they look at and how it impacts their heart and influences them.
Women. She instills noble character in her children, and most importantly, she is a devout servant of her Lord. Can all of this be stated for a Western woman who has rebelled against her Lord, wears revealing clothing that causes men to look at her as if she were a piece of flesh,
Yes.
and prioritizes her profession over all else?
Disgusting.
There are countless examples of Muslim women who have achieved outstanding success in secular education without compromising their hijab or niqab. Many Muslim women are doctors, teachers, lecturers, businesswomen, and countless more, all while remaining obedient to Allah's commands. If those so-called liberal women remain unconvinced, we challenge them to investigate the founder of the world's first university. The outcome will likely surprise them, as they will discover that the founder was a veiled Muslim woman from Tunisia named Fatima al-Fahiri, a woman who is wearing revealing clothing and is deceived by Satan's whispers, is laughing at a woman whom Satan was unable to deceive. Which woman do you believe is more fit to be mocked? Please share your thoughts in the comment section below. May Allah reward and bless our Muslim women for not straying from the satanic delusions of the world.
Ameen.
Ameen.
Yo, let me add something at the end, because I saw this even in my comment section. I need to point out some of you guys that actually commented this, right? That Islam is against women education. That is actually false, like we saw here, right? Like the first university was founded by Muslim women. So, you know, let me explain this, okay, from a logical perspective, also like from an Islamic perspective. Why is it important that a woman is actually smart and educated and she's very intelligent, right? Because in reality, the woman spends more time with the child than the husband. And this actually is even the case if both work usually, right? And plus, especially in Western countries, the women, she gets often 2-3 years work off after birth, right? And she's at the beginning a lot with the child, and of course the breastfeeding part, this and that, right? So women spends the most time with the child in comparison to the husband. And especially like more children, often women, either they are completely housewives or they are like having part-time jobs. And in some traditional families, it's still where the husband works and the woman stays at home. It also depends on how much income the guy has, right? And this is universal. It's not just for Muslims, but in general with families, right? Where the husband usually works a bit more than the wife. There are some cases where it's even sort of in a balance, but at the end of the day, the woman still spends more time with the child. So what is important when you want to have strong individuals in the next generation, be they male or female? You want to have a smart mother for those kids, right? So if you have a mother for your children that you pick as a husband that is very smart and intelligent, she will be better in bringing up your children because she can teach them a lot of good things, especially also Islamically, right? Like, if you look at, for example, Aisha radiallahu anha, how smart she was. She knew if you look at how many hadiths she knew, how she was teaching Muslims the deen and stuff, right? There's nothing wrong. It actually encouraged in Islam, if you look at the wives of our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, to be educated and smart as a woman. Or look at Khadija radiallahu anha. She was a businesswoman. Like, it's not wrong as a woman in Islam to be smart and educated. Like, the only thing we are worried about, especially us men, if we get married, that our wife is never at home. We don't get to spend time with her while we are working and providing, right? Like, because in Islam it's like that, the man is actually required to spend on the wife money. It is his duty. If he wants it or not, he is required. And if he doesn't do that, he's actually sinful in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So the man must provide for the wife. While the wife, if she earns something, the money is hers and she's not required in Islam to share with her husband. So some men, they think, wait a second, I have to work, I make my 4,000 or 3,000 US dollars a month or something. Now I need to give half of it to my wife or something, right? Now she works, I never see her, but I still need to spend money on her. And then some men, oh, this is not fair, because now the woman has double income and the man has like half income and he's never with the wife. So I understand why some men are upset, right? And they would rather have their women be at home, right, and take care of the children. And this is also important for the psychology of the children, right? Like, scientists have actually discovered that in the first years, especially of a child, the mother is very, very important. and the children that grow up, you can actually Google this if you don't believe me, right? Like, just look it up online, it's actually true. Scientists have discovered that housewives tend to raise better children, and the likeliness that those children are going to have even a successful career in life is because the wife, the mother, was at home with the children and spent enough time. Because if you give your child to, let's say, a daycare center, and there's nothing wrong with that, I'm not saying it's haram or something, right? But if you're always at the child at the daycare center and like very, very long hours and never with the mother, this can have a negative psychological effect on the child, because the truth is, another person that is unrelated to the child and not the real mother cannot give the same strong love and the same type of love than the biological real mother, right? So if you have like a nanny or babysitter or daycare center raise your kid more than you as a mother, this can have a negative impact on the development of the child, because not only is the child probably in a group with many more children, so it's not the same attention the child and love gets like than from a mother that maybe has like only 2 or 3 kids, right? Like, the attention is different, the love is different. This can have a negative impact on the development of a child. So it's good if the woman stays at home, but it is still encouraged for the women to learn something. And if she can study from home, or maybe have like a home business and is a smart businesswoman that's using her computer, like, there's nothing wrong with that, right? Like, Islam is not discouraging, it's actually encouraging women to gain knowledge, because they will raise the next generation, so it's important. But yeah, guys, let me know your thoughts in the comment section, and if you found this video informative, please don't forget to give it one a thumbs up. If you guys are new to this channel, please don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more content, and I will see you guys next time, inshallah.